My son Robbie. Hello. Thanks, everything. I forgot your first name.
Mike Burr.
I'm so sorry.
Everybody forgets his name.
I would like to be forgotten, quite honestly.
You were silly.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:02. Please, well, first, sorry. So present and the meeting is Rich Saleo.
Mike Burr, present.
Beth Campbell, present.
Thanks. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, and justice for all. Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of June 16th and June 30th. I would just like to point out that there is actually a typo on that agenda, in that the June 30th meeting was actually canceled due to lack of quorum. So there was no meeting on June 30th, but there was in fact a meeting on the 16th.
Okay, Deb, on the June 16th minutes, Rich, to Deb through the chair, under board mission resignations, not a biggie, but you spelled Anthony Kepler's last name wrong in the first sentence there. You got it right in the second motion. But the point is, it starts out with First Selectman Saleo needs to amend the agenda to add the resignation of Anthony Kepler from the BOE. Motion seconded by Selectman Burr, and you do that 3 different times, but there wasn't actually a motion made. It just said Rich needs to amend. So it should say Selectman Saleo made the motion, Burr seconded on all 3 of those cases, okay?
Mhm.
And then I have no other corrections. And I don't think Beth was here, right? So with those amendments, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of June 16th, 2026, regular Board of Selectmen meeting
As amended.
as amended.
I will second that. All those in favor? Opposed?
Beth Campbell abstain.
Abstain. Thank
Burr,
you.
aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the high extension drainage. So let me back up and just let you know that we've had some challenges up in that area. We've had a couple of residents bring to our attention several drainage issues up in that area. As you may recall, there was some work up in that area to fix some drainage already, although it was limited to a certain part of the roadway. The drainage that runs in that area is very deep in the ground, and it's also a very large, some very large pipe. It is definitely outside of the capability of our public works crew. So what we've done is we have looked at some options in terms of what we can do to fix some of those issues that were brought to our attention. So one of the options is to work with a company called Savvy and Sons. So Savvy and Sons is a company that has a very unique approach to this, in that they have a process whereby they can reconstruct a pipe inside the existing pipe, and basically allow us to sort of repair what's there without having to completely remove what's there and dig the whole thing out and replace it. We believe that could be a much more cost-effective solution. The first step in that process, though, to figure out whether or not it will work, is to do some camera work, and they want to do the camera work to figure out where to go. And where's my piece of paper? Sorry, 1 second. I'm missing some notes. Okay, here it is. So they have an estimate of between $5,000 and $10,000 to do the camera work. I will tell you though that we believe that the challenges with that pipe run from roughly 355 High Street Extension all the way up to 449 High Street Extension. The area where we have identified problems are 355 up to 385 High Street Extension. We would like to camera the whole thing to get an understanding of the scope of what we may need to do. I'm bringing this to your attention because this project will come back and it will not be a small project. Any questions?
Yeah. Do you?
Go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, what you sent us, it says, I'm looking at their proposal.
Mhm.
So this 5 to 10,000 for 1,000 feet, is that the area you described as 1,000 feet enough?
Yes.
Okay, and they're gonna go in and they also blow pressurized water in there. Do we have fire hydrants up there that they'll be able to use? Do you know?
They have a jetpack truck that they'll be using.
They have a jet vac truck, but it says that the customer, the owner, will supply the water supply.
Yes, so they'll have to fill up either at the firehouse or WPCA.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be right on site there. Okay, and then the other question I had, the rates, 2,000 minimum charge for 4 hours port to port. What does that mean? Is that to be, what's, or is that if they find any materials that need to be taken out?
Isn't that when you
have to pay their
travel time?
So
when they leave their facility, the clock starts. When they return to their facility, the clock
okay,
ends.
so they aren't actually ports, but anyways, so minimum for 4 hours and 5,000 per day, 10 hours port to port. To me, it looked like this could easily add up to more than $10,000. So I was just wondering how accurate their $5,000 to $10,000 range is. And while I'm on it, I just have another couple questions here. It has a lot in here about this proposal also does not include traffic control, so I assume that we're going to have traffic control, right? So
Mhm.
that's going to be an added cost. Does the town absorb that cost? Okay, so it's not going to be police?
No.
Special duty police? Okay. And then there's also stuff in here about there's a disposal cost for 195 a ton for non-hazardous, but there's 235 a ton for hazardous material if they find any that has to be transported. But then when you go down in their contract, it says that we have to confirm, the owner's got to confirm that places based on existing all being non-hazardous material and does not include any special removal or disposal costs of hazardous material, but they give us you see what I'm saying? It contradicts it. They give
We
us an
can,
hourly
we're
cost.
going to take the non-hazardous.
So it's not hazardous. They do,
It's coming off of High Street.
right, but they do a broad scope of work where they line pipes at factories and everything else, so that's why. that's
Okay.
in there.
Okay, I just,
And we have a disposal site.
the other question I have is whether Rybeck looked at this, because under damage limitations says under no circumstances will the contractor be responsible for indirect, incidental, or consequential damages.
We just got this yesterday.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I would
So
say,
the answer is no.
I would say the town attorney.
We will.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. This is the first. Look, it's also backwards, right? So I haven't brought this to the Board of Finance yet because they haven't met. What I'm trying to do
Yeah.
is
I
to start to
appreciate that. I
unpack
didn't
the
know if
scope
you
and at
wanted
least
us-
give you an update on
Okay.
where we are.
That's
I
fine.
agree, this absolutely has to go to corporate counsel, so we'll do that. We have an aging pipe, right? We've fixed a small piece of it. The rest of it is going to be a problem, one section at a time until we do something.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted us to act on this.
No,
tonight,
I
that's
just
why.
wanted to,
All right.
it's, sorry, it should have probably said update.
All right.
That's why it doesn't say
I'll wait
approve.
till we see after the attorneys look at it.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. I'll be back.
Thanks.
We'll be back. I'm just trying to give you a heads up on a pretty sizable project that's coming down the pike. So, any other questions? Okay, next one is the Nystrom's Park Communication Tower. I think, Mike, you wanted to
Yeah,
discuss this?
thanks. I asked that be added. We started this conversation with Ed, when Ed was in office and, I never got a hold of the leasing company but, because of the bad cell service up there, I wanted to see if there would be feasible to, hang some, antennas on that tower. It's a 220-foot tower, I think. And my primary concern is if there's an injury or something goes on at the park and nobody can call 911 because there's no cell service. But secondary to that, I know we make some pretty decent revenue off the Chapel Street with all the antennas on it. I think it's kind of a dead area in town for cell service, so I wanted to just see if it was feasible to see if any of the communications companies would be interested in renting space on that tower. I know when we first went in, I proposed it when we were building the tennis courts and the tower went up. And there was a concern that maybe it might interfere with the microwave point-to-point antennas, but that can't be the case at all because one of the antenna in that 4 antenna relay is on the Chapel Street tower. So there's plenty of other cell phone towers and antennas, I mean, cell phone antennas on the Chapel Street. So I don't think interference with the police and safety communications is going to be an issue. So two issues. It gives better coverage if there's couple of police calls on to the park and the beach area. Over and a half. After particularly those young kids that are up there, I want to make sure their phones are going to work if there's a problem and they can be able to call someone.
We need to come back to that for
I
sure,
just wanted
because
to- I
yeah,
wanted to bring it up and see if it's.
I remember discussing it a long time ago, my early days on the Board of Finance, and I can tell you back then, I believe we were told, if I recall correctly, that there was no interest, but we should redo that unless, Chief, you think there's an issue with anything? Okay,
Anyone who would go in there would have to study, and they just align everything. They have to create distance between, there's no interference issues.
okay.
The only thing is if they couldn't get the height they want.
I do know in the last 4 or 5 years, they put a tower across on the other side, uphill from Wigwam Reservoir off 109.
They just didn't, basic, they just finished it.
Yeah, so maybe, but I still know there's no signal up in that
No, there
area,
is.
so.
Up there at the tower.
Yeah, so it just something I wanted to bring up and maybe we could look into it.
Yep, I took a note. I don't know how to do that, but I'll find out.
Yeah, there's a company that manages the Chapel Street. They actually manage it for all the other AT&T and Verizon and everyone else, so that might be a place.
Do you
to
have a
start.
contact there you could share?
One year.
Yeah, if you can send that to me, I'll start there.
All right, thank you.
Look, I totally agree. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but my cell phone does not work at my house. So, it's worth a question. Anything else on that? Okay. So the next item is, a Walnut Hill tree removal request. So we had a request to remove a tree. Uh, the owner would like to take a tree down at their expense. That tree sits in the setback. And we don't currently have a tree warden to make that decision. I would assume that falls to this group to sort of make a decision about.
Yeah, Deb and I talked about this while you were gone. Excuse me. And they wanted to do it, I think you've seen all the email, the back and forth from Rybeck on this.
Yes.
And they wanted to do it July meeting, and it's supposed to be noticed and actually prior to removal and all that. So we just,
Needs a permit.
yeah, we just decided to wait and have the conversation here. But I went up and looked at it, and the problem I think is it's a beautiful old hickory tree. And it's alive. It's not dead or anything like that. And it came up that the person that lives there just is tired of picking up the sticks and all the nuts that fall off the thing. It turns out he's not actually the owner. He rents from the owner. And Deb, with her due diligence, got a hold of the owner, and the owner agreed that they were okay with removing it. My concern is that if we say, okay, you don't like picking up sticks, so go ahead and take this live tree down. And if you drive up Walnut Hill and up Hickory Hill, there you could probably count 100 trees that are in the town's right of way. Do we open a huge can of worms here that all of a sudden everybody's like, I hate the maple trees in my yard that I planted, 35 years ago, because I hate picking up leaves too. But do we open a can of worms if we let this one person say, I don't like that tree, I'm taking it down? Because usually the way the statutes read, I think it says it has to be a dead or dying tree or interfere with
does.
the power lines or
Yes.
something. I mean, I can see it's a towering tree and it's over kind of a small ranch, house. If it ever came down, it would take out the house. But I guess in his letter or in a conversation with Deb, the guy just is tired of picking up the crap from the tree. So I don't know how. I wanted to see what you guys think about it. I just am afraid we set a precedent and now we open a huge can of worms.
I think if I may, Beth, real quickly, I think that it doesn't follow any criteria that we normally use to say, yes, let's take this tree down. So I'm also concerned with that precedent saying we have a set of guidelines that we use to make this decision. And if we follow those guidelines, that would lead us to we should not take this tree down. That's my concern. Beth?
Great.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was searching for the letter and it's right there in front of me. I was looking for it. No. I can understand the guy's perspective on wanting to take it down. And, the criteria we have, Rich, is if we're going to take the tree down at our expense as a part of the tree warden budget, I mean, we get a freebie here because they're going to pay for it. And, there may not be a lot of interest. I mean, a lot of people may not want to pay $3,000 to have a tree removed. I don't even know if that's a reasonable guess at the cost. But I don't know.
I think we should make a motion to either allow or disallow.
Can you pop up Rybeck's email? You don't have that scanned in.
You have it on your emails, Rich?
I
He
can't get to my email from
he
here.
opined that as long as A, B, C, D, and F were
Do it.
done, that we could go ahead and approve it, but I was looking for that too, but I couldn't find it.
Yes. I don't. Doing another tree, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have it handy. I don't want to take up too much time searching for an email here, but. And that's where he cited statutes about, it's got to be marked, sign on it for 10 days. They have to provide insurance. You need the contractor's number and
Public hearing.
was there a public hearing in there? Wow.
Um,
I think it would be a different case if it were a dying tree and proposed some sort of a risk, you know. I mean, I'm no arborist, but it looks had some from Nystrom's when we cleared the area for the track and we sent them to the lumber yard and made the picnic tables in there out of the hickory. And you can't even, two people can't lift one of those picnic tables. It's dense wood. So it's not, it's not like something that I would see in a storm. The hickories will probably be the last one standing, if I had to guess. They're pretty solid, hardy tree. I don't know. And the last thing I'll add is that I do know Brian Brandt from the Highway Department did go look at it. And he agreed that he could see where it may be a problem for the homeowner. I don't know that it presents a problem for the town unless it falls directly across the road someday.
I just sent you Mike Rybeck's information. Beth, I sent you a copy too. Look, it does say that it's the purview of the tree warden, which we don't have right now. In absence of a tree warden, it would be the highway superintendent, which we also don't have right now. So one thing we could do is wait. Right? We could table this discussion until we have some certified personnel look at the tree. We could do that as well. We do have True Love and McLean doing some work in town, doing some tree trimming. I'd be happy to get with them, get their feedback, understand the implications of or a certified arborist giving us a written opinion.
Yeah. I can read his 5 bullets if you'd like, but nowhere in here does it say no. There was but that might be a good way. We can vote to table it and you can talk to the arborist and let them render an opinion on whether they think it's a risk or not. Or maybe that could.
I think that would.
Right, and instead of taking the advice of our arborist, recommend maybe just trimming some of the bigger branches off of it. Pending further research till the next regular meeting. Is that enough time?
Should be, yeah.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Just bear with me for a second. Just want to make a note.
Mike, that might have been something said verbally too, because I do remember saying public hearing, but.
But I don't, but we complied with all of this, but we have removed trees under the tree warden program in the last 30 years that I've been here, and I never remember a public hearing on any of them. So I don't think we've ever had a tree public hearing.
Okay, I need to request an an amendment to the agenda. So down under, the first item under communications is the letter from Robert Norton Senior, the fire marshal pertaining to his retirement. We actually need a motion to accept his retirement letter. So I would first accept a motion to amend the agenda and move that item from communications up to new business.
So moved.
Second.
Sorry.
You don't need to read it into the record, do you?
Just I'm IT at the moment. So, um, so Robert Norton Senior, who has served as our fire marshal for not even sure how many years, 1.5 years. He's going to retire, and he has notified the Thomaston Fire Commission. He also uh, opted out that resignation.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Robert Norton Senior from the fire as fire marshal, effective at 1,800 hours on Monday, August 3rd, at the August Fire Commission meeting is when he wants it to be effective. And I would add that you could send him a letter thanking him for his 4.5 decades of service to the town.
Will do.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Moving to old business, I just wanted to touch on an item here that we're keeping on the agenda to keep it top of mind, which is the Waterbury water main. I did send another follow-up to Joe Gary, who is Mayor Pernuski's chief of staff. And he sent me a quick reply back saying they are still looking at solutions to try and find the best option to figure out how to analyze the pipe. There's a tremendous amount of Waterbury water. Two breaks in a row over by the railroad company. So they are still working on. And in addition, I will add, as it relates to the other two water work has been submitted by the New England Railroad Museum and their counterpart business, that is I can't remember what the other business is called, but the one that runs freight.
Yeah.
So they have submitted 2 separate claims, one for each incident, to the city of Waterbury for processing. Joe Gary also responded to those submittals saying that it is being run through their process.
Excellent. Good.
No further updates other than those.
Thank you. I'm glad we followed up because the first reaction from Waterbury was to show us the hand. So thanks for following up on that.
Yep. So the next item under old business is to.
Can I interrupt? Do you
Yep.
want to make a motion to move up the Judson
We can.
Street? I'll
Sure.
make a motion to move up the update on Judson Street drainage ahead of the job description for public services superintendent.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay,
Feel
so.
sorry for these people who have to sit through all this.
So, as a reminder, we discussed this some months ago. There is a drainage pipe that runs through the property 70 Judson Street. I went back and looked at deeds. I researched several things with both Kathy and spent a lot of time going back and forth with I put it in. What should we do? The pipe is in tough shape. It is collapsing in a couple areas. We did camera that we own to camera. And so back before we started rehabbing the web, when we did that web drainage project to manage the water coming off of Crystal Lake, a decision was put forth by our attorney, Mike Rybeck, that that particular pipe was not part of our infrastructure, and that we had no responsibility. I asked him to review that to make sure that he is still of the same opinion. And I can share his response with you, but basically I can summarize it pretty quickly. His response is that there is no evidence that the town put that pipe in. However, when we did the web project, we did connect it to the infrastructure that was there, that was put in during that web project. So we have some shared responsibility here. So it is for us, I think, to decide how to move forward. I will tell you that I have a certain opinion about how I think we should move forward. But it is up to this board to decide how to proceed. I believe that based on Attorney Rybeck's opinion that we have some shared responsibility, I think we should evaluate some solutions. Going to run into that structure that we own, that we put in when we did the web, is properly routed. Whether we abandon that pipe and just use the infrastructure that's there, which is an option, I believe, but we need an engineer to take a look at it. It's possible we can cap that pipe off where we attached it. But we have to do some analysis to figure that out. If that doesn't work, I think we should route it in another location, potentially between I don't have the number here. It's in this pile somewhere, but that's one proposal, is to figure out either how do we abandon that pipe? Can we abandon the pipe and just terminate it and have the surface water run through the infrastructure that we put in when we put in the web, if it's capable. If not, I think we need to route it somewhere else.
So
I think we need
regardless, we need to engage an engineering firm, someone to take a look at it, right?
That's my
Is
recommendation.
that Ty and Bond? Is that in their area of
Well, we
expertise?
would draft an RFP and put it out to bid.
Oh, okay.
That would be our policy.
Because there was some other proposal in here from Ty and Bond that said they wanted to just do it under the purview of their existing contract or some. I think that's the Old Northfield Road and the remediation. I mean,
That's a separate issue.
I get it's a separate issue, but it's the same sort of. Does Ty and Bond do that work? And because we already have a contract, can we skip going out to bid on it is my question.
No, this is an entirely separate project from Old Northfield Road.
But I think we do have the ability for architectural and engineering and professional services to waive a bidding process. I'm pretty sure that we've used that in the past. So I just read that as a note in the what we're gonna talk about later about the old Northfield Road remediation. Ty and Bond made a proposal and they said, we'd like to do this as an extension of, and put it under the umbrella of their existing contract with the town.
They do not have an existing contract with the town. We don't have a town
Well, I guess
engineer.
that'll come up in.
Yeah,
in the
so-
next thing, but.
So the contract they're referring to as it relates to Old Northfield Road is specific to a project that we are working on Old Northfield Road. To waive it, because if I have to go back and look. Look, quite honestly, every time we go out for bid, typically the person who worked on it last comes back with the best price because they have all the knowledge, right? But we should still do the due diligence and
Okay, I just called it, but in that other proposal that we're gonna talk later, it says this proposal shall be governed by the terms of our existing on-call contract. So do they have an on-call contract for anything we come across?
they do not.
Okay,
No.
so maybe it's,
So that language needs to be amended.
okay. All right, I just thought I was gonna make this easy, but it looks like that's not an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so, do you want a motion to have you come up with an RFP, for, engineering services?
If you agree that we should, head
Well,
down.
yeah, you had me as soon as you said we tied into it. I'm sure this has happened like 50 years ago or something, right? I mean,
I have no idea when that pipe went in.
you know,
We
the
have,
fact that we tied into it, you know,
we tied it to our
and we have a
infrastructure.
shared responsibility.
Yep.
It makes sense to me, at least, that we should engage an engineering firm and see what our options are here.
That runs right through the center of town too.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
Yeah, I know. We've looked at it before. We
It-
actually, different meeting, this is like our third
It-
meeting on it. We saw the
Yep.
pictures of the damage to the pipe and all that, so.
It does not go underneath the ball field. It goes daylight before it gets there, right?
Yeah, daylight's above, just above the ball. It heads towards the ball field.
Yeah.
Goes underneath Main Street, wherever.
Yeah, yeah, so, yeah, I agree that's a good approach. You know, let's get someone to take a look at it and give us some options here. You know, we understand all that. It's just, so.
Yep.
Because we have a shared responsibility, then we should see what our options are, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
do you want to,
I don't need a motion.
Okay.
I'll just go do it.
all right,
But I'm just gonna go create an RFP and come back,
okay,
right?
yep.
Okay. Okay, going back to the other items,
Unless
we,
you guys want to endure the pain, you guys can be,
yeah,
you
okay.
can be dismissed. Class dismissed.
Should thank you very much for looking into it.
Okay, so the next item under old business is to discuss approve the job description for public services superintendent. So what was, and I'll put that up in a second. So what was sent out in the packet and what's on the screen now is exactly the same as the one that we have been reviewing and we reviewed the last few times. At this point, before we do anything and start the recruitment process, the Board of Selectmen has to approve the job descriptions. All job descriptions.
Well, I don't, you know. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I look at this job description and I have a hard time understanding how one person's going to do all this, but I lost that battle. I mean, I was gonna go back and I, I just, do you think you think you're gonna find, I guess we won't know until we put it out, right? You're gonna find somebody that's got all of these qualifications and all of this education? I mean, no question we needed, at least in the immediate future, we need a tree warden.
We do, and a few other.
Yeah, it's a pretty inclusive list of essential functions, so. If, the town meeting approved this process and going down this path, so we don't see where we have any options but to approve the job description, right?
Unless you think we need to make changes to it.
Well, I was gonna go in and try to compare the old highway job and the WPCA job descriptions and see where but I think we hashed this around and you've
I
done.
did
you've done
that.
that, and we
I
saw
s-
highlighted copies of
Yep.
where the overlap was.
I started with that, Mike. I combined the two together, but then I took out all of those pieces that are going to go to the reporting coordinator. So all of those day-to-day reporting requirements, plus all of those annual, semi-annual, every 5 year things that we have to do, like stormwater pollution prevention plans, hazardous mitigation plans, spill control plans. All of those things come out of one or the other of the original job descriptions and goes into the reporting coordinator.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that when it comes to being coordinator, but I, we we have to approve this, otherwise you can't go out to bid, right?
Right.
So if Beth wants to make a motion,
Make a motion to approve the job description for the public services superintendent as presented.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. The next one is the Public Services Administrative Assistant. Sorry. This computer is killing me today.
I do want to ask, these are pretty beefy positions. I mean, what happens there? I know we approved it and I didn't go to the meeting because I was being a stubborn old man, but I also had another commitment. But what if we go down this path and what if we decide, wow, this is all very expensive, Rich? I didn't agree with the whole idea of voting for something that we had no idea what the cost was going to be. And so I just want to restate that I have concerns on the budget impact of this restructure. Okay.
For this job description, so there's only gonna be one, there's not gonna be the two separate, correct? And is this position funded by the town or the WPCA?
I'm sorry, which position?
The
Beth? The
Public Services Administrative Assistant.
So there's going to be one administrative assistant that's going to do the highway administrative assistant and and WPCA. And and the same with the superintendent, how do we split the cost of that?
Yep. So what is budgeted for this fiscal year, 26-27, in the WPCA budget will be paid out. The remainder that we need to finalize negotiations on will be paid for from the town side. So I'm basically using the highway superintendent to pay for part of what was budgeted for the highway superintendent, to pay for part of the public services superintendent role and the addition of some services for the administrative assistant and the reporting coordinator.
So let me go ahead. I'm sorry.
The, Public Works Administrative Assistant, was that position full-time?
No. No, it was,
WPCA is full-time,
yep,
okay.
yep. No, it was, no, Public Works is, 12 hours a week.
Okay, well, all right, thank you.
Yep. And she has resigned. Just to be clear.
So we have no public works administrative assistant at the moment.
Nope.
Um, so you said you're going to use the WPCA budget to pay out the WPCA supervisor.
As budgeted.
As
So
budgeted.
we need to commingle.
So let me just throw out a hypothetical. What if the current WPCA superintendent does not end up being this one? So then you still have a contract with the current WPCA so he's entitled to that budgeted amount, I would assume. And if it's not the same person, where does the money come from now for the WPCA half of the new position? Am I making that clear?
You are. So the current employment contract with the current WPCA superintendent is at will, basically. He can be terminated at any time.
That's not a very good
Is that a
contract.
yearly contract?
Uh,
One-year Contract?
it is a multi-year contract.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm not
I
pretending
understand.
to
I understand.
say how this is going to play out.
No,
okay?
I
Um,
understand that.
I'm just
there-
looking at it from a pure budget sharing. So as WPCA, is it a 50-50 split?
No,
Who
No.
determines how much? I mean, let's just take away the current budget year. Now we have a new position, a new hiree.
Yep.
That's gonna have all these essential functions. Did you go through and weight each one of these essential functions to see which one was WPCA and which one was highway? And from a time perspective, is the person expected to give 50% of their work week to WPCA and 50% to highway? Or how's that all going to play out?
the majority of this workload, just as it was before, is on the WPCA emphasis. So there's more scope on the WPCA side than there is on the public works side. So it'll always be a proportion, not 50-50.
Well, I don't know so are we saying that the highway superintendent job, then, and let's say if you think this is weighted 60-40, then you're saying that maybe we should have had a part-time highway superintendent all these years?
I'm not going to litigate the past.
No, but we have to look to the future I don't know that. So going forward, you're saying that, what do you perceive as, it's a fair question. What do you perceive as the percentage from a budgetary? Do you perceive 70% from WPCA and 30% from the town side of the budget for this?
It will probably be,
I'm back up to but it kind of applies to both of these, I guess. If this person's also going to have highway administrative, this assistant's going to have the same, right? Is it going to be the same percentage?
But thinking she was only 12 hours at the Public Works and current WPC is 40, right?
right. Yep.
I'm just-
So again, I don't want to litigate the past, but the admin for WPCA was doing a lot of like the invoicing, paperwork, stuff like that. Right?
For the Public Works.
For just public works. So,
The WPCA.
sorry, no. Works admin was doing basically just entering POs, things like that. All right. The WPCA admin does that plus budgeting, plus collections, plus takes direct phone calls from residents with questions, right? It's a whole different scope. So then in that situation, it will also, much like the public works superintendent, it'll also be more funded from the WPCA budget than from the town side.
Well, that just by its nature, it had to be a whole different scope because they're their own taxing authority. And on the administrative side, for the highway, that person may not have been answering phone calls because we have another administrator here for the town that does answer phone calls.
And there's a reason for that, because that person was never had enough hours to be on the other side of the phone to effectively do that.
It's okay. Well, I have some real serious
There was-
questions on,
There's a limited
who's
scope
gonna
to what
decide?
could be done with someone who's there 12 hours a week. That's a fact, right?
Say-
Especially in a service organization.
say this morphs into
So
something.
hold on one second. So look, we can not do this now and we can talk about it, but the item on the table is not about should we do this, should we not do this? The town's already decided that. It's about, does the job description look right or not?
Okay, well,
That's the question on the table.
I
And if
get
you
it.
want to table it and have more time to look at it and come back about the job description, I'm more than happy to do that.
I don't know what's about the job description. I have questions and I understand you don't want to litigate the past, but I think it was, I don't think when we went and this was voted on, and you know how town meetings work. You could vote in whatever you want depending on how many phone calls you make to have people show up. I don't know that it was, and just hang on. Is this going to be an annual basis? Say the job on one side morphs to more than we suspected. Now, is it going to be up to the Board of Finance to determine how much of each of these positions comes, or is it going to be a set thing that's going to be done right from the beginning that somebody decides 70-30, 60-40? I mean, how's that going to work? Is it going to be part of are we just going to go out and try it and see how it plays out the first year and maybe make an adjustment in the second
Yes.
budget?
Yes, we have a fixed budget. I have to work within the budget dollars that we have on both sides, the town and the WPCA, which is what I intend to do as I negotiate the salaries for these positions going forward. I only have so much money.
I understand that. To me, the timing of this should be provided with the budget process, so we could have had this all played out and then know it going into the next budget year instead of entering it into it mid budget or a month into the new budget.
I would like to have done that, but this situation didn't arise until decisions,
Okay.
the outgoing highway superintendent made a decision to retire.
Okay, I appreciate the fact that the town's already decided to proceed. And so that being said, I'll make a motion to accept the job description for the which one are we on?
Administrative assistant.
Administrative assistant,
Second,
public service administrative assistant.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Okay.
carries.
And without even pulling it up, well, yeah, I'd like to pull up the next one, the report, the reporting coordinator, because so this, and I've brought this up before, this MS4 for Public Works, WPCA, and the transfer station. We have an engineering firm that does this for us, correct?
Yeah, but we,
Sampson and whomever, because I looked at,
yes, but there's also other requirements that come with it. We have to do work on our side in order to do it.
yeah,
In-
I understand what's involved with it. I looked at 5 years of Avon's and one of our reports.
Okay,
And as I mentioned previously, they're cut and paste from one year to the next. I want to start a consulting firm to be the cut and paste guy. And
they're not always cut and paste from one year to the next. I'll tell you right now.
I will
When
tell
it,
you-
when it comes to the SWIP, When it comes to the stormwater
I'm
pollution
talking about
prevention
the
plan.
MS4,
Okay,
MS4.
all right,
Is, and
fine.
the only thing that changes is
That's
any
not
new-
true. The requirements change from time to time
Okay, that's fair enough.
on all of
That's
these.
fair enough. Okay, but my point is, we still have an engineering firm that does that report for us, correct?
Yes,
So,
we
Is-
can, so in between, when there's major changes, we can resubmit ourselves. Not necessarily the MS4, because that requires a PE sign off. But some of these other reports that are in here, if we had been keeping up with them like we were supposed to, we could have just resubmitted them ourselves. The problem we're in with the SWIPs, for example, is we weren't doing it. It wasn't getting done. Now it's so old that we hire a certified engineer to rewrite the whole thing. But if we had been so I'll give you an example. So the SWIP, if you think about the SWIP, WPCA has been filing those things as appropriate and doing all the work as they're supposed to every single year. Transfer Station and Public Works had not been doing it so long that now we can't just we can't just re-up it ourselves. We had to hire somebody to do it.
so if we're gonna hire someone to do the SWIP.
We don't need to though. What I'm telling you. If we
well,
had done it,
You just said it hasn't been done in so long, we have to hire an engineering firm to do it the first time.
and we did.
So we
We're
did.
doing that right now.
So this reporting coordinator won't have that as a job, as a function,
Absolutely, because they're going to have to update it every year.
but they won't have to do it for this year, right? And they won't have to do the MS4 for this year either.
No.
Right? So
No.
those first two reports responsible for, they don't do the first year.
Correct.
So we do need an EAP for the dams.
Mike,
But is
this is
that-
not an exhaustive list, okay? I can tell you right now,
But
I
I'm
just
just
found
question-
two other things that are still missing that we don't have.
Let me finish, please, my question. So the EAP is going to have to be done by an engineering firm, I would imagine, right?
It wasn't done the last time we
No.
did it. We had to have it redone by a PE, but we have to we have to file something every year for all the dams. We haven't
Okay.
done that.
Okay, I get that. So in the first three in this person's essential functions, they're not doing in the first year of this job. And then the next ones are not even report. You list them as reports, but it just says FEMA and WPCA. I mean, what does that mean? I know what FEMA is, but is there an annual FEMA report? Or is it only if we have some sort of a,
There's a long list of reports, Mike. I didn't put them all in here. And I just found two more this week.
okay, so this job description should say FEMA reports and WPCA.
I'm not going to list every single one. It's going to be an open-ended discussion when I interview people.
I guess I'm not making it clear. The following is a list that are to be maintained by this position. FEMA.
Yep,
Is that a list of reports or is that an agency?
there's a FEMA report.
So what it should say FEMA report,
Okay, you want me to change it?
WPCA.
Do you want to table this one and we'll edit it and come back?
Well, it sounds to me like this person's not going to have a lot to do in the first year if we're going to
That's not,
hire engineering firms.
that's not true. It's simple.
I would,
There are more things that we have not filed. We have a spill control report that we don't have. We have a emergency response plan that we have not updated. All of those things need to be done. There's a laundry list of stuff that we have not done. This person will be responsible for it. I'm not listing every single one in here. I'm just telling you, there's a lot of stuff that has to get done.
Is
If you
this a
don't
full-
believe me, I'm sorry.
No, and I would ask that even I don't use F-bombs only once and it made the newspaper.
Well, I don't know what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish here. You tell me what you're trying to accomplish.
I'm
If you
trying-
don't want to vote for this, don't. If you want it tabled and edited, fine. But I'm telling you, I'm not going to add an exhaustive list to a job description because I need it open-ended. So if I need this person to do something else, they can. That's how every job description in the world works.
Okay, so I have some other questions if I can get through them without getting another F-bomb. This person's going to proactively identify and apply for grants to support all town needs. So does that mean the work that's been done, like for the Opera House restoration, we're applying for grants? Is this person going to do that? Instead of Gary Kingsbury, or for Nystrom's Mike Burr, who applied for all the grants? Is this, so are they going to take over all grants? Or just,
At some point.
or what was the guy's name they used, to Larry Wagner?
Well, that was for small cities.
But there are, all right, whatever.
Northfield project that we have where we have to fix the stream, which now has an added scope to it. The helping out in the WPCA project, interfacing with Ty and Bond as we go through that project to update what we're doing with WPCA. Projects like that. I'm not saying they are directing those projects entirely as a project manager, but they will be helping out with coordinating things, perhaps scheduling public hearings, like that.
Thank you.
So it says, they're going to manage grant budgets, tracking expenditures, and ensuring funds are used as described in the grant proposal. Do you know how extensive that is? I'm in the middle of it.
I do now.
Yeah, you know how extensive that is? And you're asking someone to do that kind of work. And we may have 3 or 4 different grants going at once, and you're saying that they're going to manage the expenditures and make sure the money's been properly spent on that. It's a ton of work. I've done it. But you're only asking for someone with a high school diploma or equivalent associate's degree. And then you want someone with a work environment or 2 more years of environment or project management experience.
Mhm.
So you're saying that in one sentence that they're not going to be managing projects, but you want someone with project management experience. All right. No further comments.
Make a motion. Make a motion to approve the reporting coordinator job description as presented.
I'll second
All those in favor?
it.
Aye.
I'm gonna be against.
Okay. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the Old Northfield Road remediation engineering. So I will just back up a little bit and tell you and remind everyone about this project on Old Northfield Road. We are being directed by the DEEP to repair and replace what we did when we moved some things around in a stream that runs through that area. So we have to rebuild what is there and go through the process of fixing or undoing what we did when we went in there the last. In addition to that, as a form of reparation, the DEP has required us to rehab a stream bed of similar length somewhere in town. We have identified that stream bank to be the piece, one side of that was not Steel Brook. It was, Branch Brook. One side of Branch Brook that runs along the transfer station. The idea is that we would remove invasive species and replant it with indigenous species. That was proposed as a reparation. DEEP has approved in concept our process and what we've proposed. They need a final design. None of this reparation piece was part of the original engineering scope that was put forward. When we started working on this, we didn't know DEEP was going to come back and ask for this. So we need to, and I don't have the file up in front of me. There is a proposal which does need to be changed because it does refer to, as Mike pointed out, an on-call agreement, which we don't have with them. So, but the total cost for this section, this piece, which is to go through and build the mitigation plan, is $10,000. I'm bringing it to the Board of Selectmen first. We are working to finance meeting to approve this because DEEP has given us 30 days to submit the final design for the plan. So we're on the clock on this one. So I am asking to have this board approve this out of sequence with the Board of Finance.
Okay. This is amendment 2. Do we miss an amendment 1? Or is it something that didn't require our attention, or?
I have to go look at amendment 1. I don't,
Was amendment 1 maybe something else to do with the
I think it
the old
was.
Northfield Road side where they looked at it?
Yep.
That's fine.
I think there was a change because there's a bridge involved we have to deal with.
I'll make a motion to approve this, subject to approval at the Board of Finance.
Yes.
The Old Northfield Road Stream Stabilization Project, off-site mitigation services from Ty and Bond.
Second.
All those in favor?
Assuming you clean up the, whatever.
Yeah,
needs to
I'll
be
get that
picked up.
straightened out.
Okay.
I already made a note. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Mm.
I need to make, there's another error here. I would accept a motion to move an item from communications called letter from NV regarding environmental assessment and design of sections of the Greenway. I need that moved to old business.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So I'll just give you a quick update here on the Greenway. We are still waiting. So we are missing about $200,000 to do the Greenway project without Elm Street. I'll be clear. This project no longer includes Elm Street, but we are still missing some dollars. That is due to two things. One, an escalation of cost, and two, the federal government backed out of some funding as well. In order to cover that $200,000 gap, I worked with NV. They went and submitted a Rec Trails grant for us, which we should have heard on whether we are going to be awarded that Rec Trails grant in April. Release the awards. In the meantime, the last time we spoke about this, I mentioned that we do have an open ban that we have to start paying back, which we did. We made a payment on. But in the process, because we have borrowed the initial sum of money and we need to start paying it back, he's getting prepared to start the project in the event the Rec Trails grant comes in, which it's supposed to come in any time, although they've been telling me that since mid-April. So we're not talking about actually committing any dollars, but we are talking about starting to do the work project, so to speak, and understand, starting to talk to vendors and things like that. Amanda is on the call, and Amanda, if you'd like to come off mute, and if you need to add anything. So Amanda will be taking the lead on the project. And what we did was we had a quick conversation with the NVCOG. They have gone through already an RFP process for the entire greenway, and they have selected a vendor, which we can use. I believe that their process for an open RFP, working through several vendors, the criteria they chose was sufficient for us to waive our own 3-bid process for selecting a vendor. So
Did Rybeck agree with it? That we can waive?
I don't know if I asked him, but I know that I believe we've done this with other NVCOG vendors.
I don't.
But if you want,
I don't.
we can table it and I can go back to Mike.
Is this, are you under a time constraint here too, or we're still waiting to hear whether?
We haven't heard anyway, no.
No, I'd rather get an opinion on whether this is one of the services we can waive before we have to undo something that we didn't mean to do. Not trying to be stick in the mud. And
Okay, let me just make a note. I'll take care of that. If someone would like to make a motion to table this to the next meeting.
yeah, it's actually a town policy that says what services we can waive the, I know it's a policy that we can vote to go less than 3, but there were some specific things like legal counsel, I think, but that was how we can stay with the same legal counsel. I think it was legal, architectural, and it may have been engineering too. But probably should get one. I'll make a motion to table this NVCOG environmental assessment and design for the Greenway till the next regular meeting. Is that enough time?
Yep, I'll have an answer by then.
Second.
Okay, that's it for old business. Moving to,
We didn't vote.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Moving to boards, commissions, appointments, resignations. We have no resignations. We do have 2 appointments. I would accept a motion to appoint Jeremy Weed to the ambulance commission.
Jeremy Weed, the ambulance commission. I did speak with the RTC chairman and they're on board with this, so I'll make a motion to reappoint Jeremy Weed to the ambulance commission.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And then there's an opening on the Greenway Committee, and the RTC has appointed James Forker.
RTC or DTC? Okay.
It is so it is, just to be clear, it is an open Democratic seat, but James Forker was recommended by the DTC to be considered by the RTC because he is a Republican.
So if it's a Democratic seat and the DTC is okay with it, then I guess we're all okay with it, right? We don't, it doesn't need to go before the RTC?
It did go before the RTC. We did it last
Oh,
time.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to put James Forker on the Greenway Committee. To appoint James Forker.
Abstain.
Okay, I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next are tax refunds.
Make a motion to approve the tax refund as presented by the tax collector. To Frank and Polly Gangloff in the amount of $38.91.
All right, that one's not on here.
I know it's not.
So
Do we need to amend the agenda?
does it have to be added to the agenda? If it's not on here?
I did check all the rest were on there.
All the rest
Just-
are on?
just
That's
that-
probably
that
the
was
one
on-
that they gave me today.
That
So
was on
give me
top.
that back. Because they gave me a whole stack today.
I did check all the rest.
Yes.
Because I was like,
Then
Do you
that's
do you
fine.
not just want to add that one to the agenda?
No, because we have a whole bunch more
Oh,
that they just
okay.
added today.
Okay.
so I rescind that motion. New motion. I make a motion to approve the tax refund as presented by the tax collector in the amount of 4734 to Annie. To Lawrence Chanel in the amount of 6258. To
Hang on,
yep, is that right?
this says, oh yeah, Chanel, oh, okay, never mind.
Mark Mitchell in the amount of 2721. Evelyn Thier in the amount of $32.92. Troy Ackerman in the amount of $22.04. To ARI Fleet Ltd in the amount of $263.15. To Lorette Leclerc in the amount of $65.84. To Garen Miller in the amount of $27.48. To Frank Bethan in the amount of $168.80. And to Herbert West in the amount of $45.44.
Second,
Museum of New England. So everyone's welcome to join. The last two items of communication are from our tax collector. This computer's me today. Basically notifying us of a specific town ordinance, about the authorization of, overpayments of less than $5. Um, And that is an adjustment made to the prior year's collections. And they fall into two different categories.
There's no action required. She's just telling us that they did it, right?
Yep,
Okay.
she's just telling, it's just a notification that they did it based on the ordinance.
Okay, with the $5 one. Um, okay,
I cannot get the computer to respond. And then there's a similar adjustment for the veterans exemption, which amounted to $136.77. Member comment?
yeah, I do have one comment, and I've mentioned this before, but I didn't know where we stood on this. And I got reminded of it when I went to leave the town hall and I got met head on by a dog this morning. Are we gonna look into an ordinance for, animals in the town hall?
Yep, haven't done anything about it.
Okay,
As soon as I move some of the other important things out of the
yeah,
way.
of course.
so
Yeah,
we'll look at that.
I just wanted to make sure we didn't forget about it, because it may come up as a part of the Opera House Commission, negotiations, but I don't think that's the appropriate place for it. I think we need to have a policy in town about it. Cute little dog, but I just think it sets a bad precedent. We could have a lot of cute little dogs running around. All right, that's all I have.
Beth,
No comment.
public comment? Hearing none, I'd accept a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Done, Mike.
Yeah, sorry. There are people on. Online would like to make it free to come off mute. Okay, hearing none. I would now also re-accept a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good catch, Deb.
I wanted to know what this tree was on, I was late, I thought this was 7 o'clock meeting, not a 6 o'clock, so, no, we moved. What was the tree on Mullet Hill that was addressed? Where was it? Gosh, sorry.
357, 374, yeah,
A private person's property?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
And.
But it just happens to be in the town's right of way for the highway, but it's on their front lawn. But
Okay.
the right of way goes out pretty far from the center of the street, so.